So this is chapter 7, starting with section 7.7. And the first question is asking, if you, using your knowledge of covalent bonding, explain why hydrogen is a diatomic gas. We know that the hydrogen gas is diatomic gas because hydrogen as it is by itself is not stable. Why it's not stable? Because it has only one electron in its outermost shell, and this is not stable. In order to be stable, you have to have two electrons. And it can do this only by one method, since hydrogen is a non-metal. So the only way that non-metal with another non-metal can be stable is by sharing electrons. If it is with a metal, it can make an ionic bond, but since it is with another non-metal, so it can make only sharing by covalent bond. So this another hydrogen atom will contain one hydrogen same way. So both of them will share the electrons between them. The electrons will share in between. If we are drawing it, we'll draw the electrons in between them, or we can draw them with different shapes, X and dot like that. So this represents the electrons. Why it is diatomic? Because in this way it will be stable. Why it will be stable? Because it will feel like it has two electrons the same way like the helium gas. Okay, what in the case of water? In the case of water, if you have water, how does this become stable? The same way for water, we have to know that this oxygen has 6 electrons in its outermost shell. The oxygen has total of 8 electrons. The first shell or the first energy level or the first layer has 2 electrons and the second layer has 6. Remember, we always said that you draw only the electrons in the outermost shell. You don't draw the electrons inside, so you don't draw these 2. The bonding always happens with the electrons in the last layer, and then it reacts with other 2 hydrogen atoms. The hydrogen atom will also share 1 electron. Each one of them will share 1 electron, and the oxygen will share 1 electron with each of them. So now the oxygen feels like it has 8. Originally it has 6 electrons, but it feels like it has 8, same like the noble gas, and the hydrogen feels like it has 2, same like the helium noble gas after it. So this is a covalent. Every one of them tries to share electrons to feel like it has 8 electrons, except the only exception is hydrogen. It tries to be 2, but the rest, all other elements try to have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. ما عدا الهydrogen. Only the hydrogen tries to become 2 like the helium. So the hydrogen reacts with the alkali metals. This section is specifically talking about hydrogen. It reacts with alkali metal to form a white solid, just like halogens do. So if you react the hydrogen with any of the elements from group 1, that's like what? We know that group 1 elements like called alkali metals, Li, Na, potassium, any of them reacts with hydrogen, form a solid. They form a white solid. So these all are white solids. These all are white solids. You need to know the reaction and be able to write it. So the potassium, which is a solid for sure, when it reacts with hydrogen, hydrogen is a gas at room temperature, it will form something called potassium hydride. So KH. And this is a white solid. And also the second one, if it makes a reaction with Br2, it forms something called potassium bromide. So Mr. group 1 element, when they react with hydrogen or halogen or water, there is different reactions that we need to memorize. طب أول واحد احنا قلناه خلاص مع الهيدروجين, it will form something called hydride. So with bromine is the liquid. How did you know, Mr. It is liquid? Because we said the whole periodic table is divided into 3 types of physical states. So do you remember we said that there are 11 elements which are gases and 2 elements which are liquids, and the rest of elements are metals, are solid at room temperature, So if you divided all the periodic table into different physical states, there are 11 which are gases. What are the 11 gases? Do you remember any of them?
لا هم بيدونا البرودكت في الامتحان.
Okay, but they will ask us which of these are gases in the room temperature. So I know that the hydrogen is gas. I know that nitrogen is gas. I know that oxygen is gas. Fluorine is gas. Chlorine is gas. And then I also know the noble gases. So this one, if it is, should not be here. Make it a little bit up here. So I know also that helium is a gas, neon is a gas, and all the noble gases. So argon, the krypton, the xenon, they are all gases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there is one more noble gas, xenon, and radon. So all the noble gases, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and chlorine, and hydrogen. The ones that I draw with the yellow are the ones that are gases at room temperature. But what about the liquids? There are two elements only which are liquids in the periodic table. What are they? Also have to
mercury أعتقد.
Yes, good. So one of them is mercury, and the other one is
و
bromine here, right? So bromine.
bromine.
Okay. The rest, all the other elements in the
solid
will be solid when they are at the, you are speaking
room temperature.
at room temperature. So this is when there is room temperature. Recording. Okay. So if he asked me this one, I should know that it is liquid by myself. How did I know that it is liquid? From here. So liquid, bromine, and mercury. So if I put the physical state, this must be liquid according to my knowledge. Again, the formed compound will be solid again. Now, what if this KH that I have just formed reacted with water? This is what is he asking me, right? What happens when product of each reaction is placed in water? The first reaction product is KH, and the second product is KPR. If you put KH, so it is the second step, KH reacted it with water, which is liquid, and this is solid. It will form KOH and H2. And last time we said that anything that's ionic compound will break down into two ions. So it will be K plus and OH minus. And the hydrogen is gas. This is soluble in water, so it's aqueous and aqueous. I have to memorize the equation as it is with all the physical states has to be memorized. Then what is the second product, KPR? If I put KPR, the solid in water, it will change into K plus and Br minus. That's it. So this is aqueous and this is aqueous. Again, the only way to answer this question is to know, is to memorize it. So in what way hydrogen is different from the halogens? Here, this is formed hydrogen gas. This one does not form hydrogen gas. There is no bubbles. There is no hydrogen gas. So there is a hydrogen gas here. There is no hydrogen gas here. This is the difference between these two reactions. So again, what is the product of potassium with the hydrogen and potassium with the bromine? And the product is again added to water. What is the result in every one of them has to be memorized. Okay. So write equation for the following reaction in each case from A to G. State what of the bonds are formed and what type of compound results. So what he is reacting what into what? He is taking all the elements in the period number 3 and reacting them. So now he is focusing on the third row elements. Where is the third row elements? So this is a periodic table and this is the third row. Means period number 3. What's period number 3? This is period number 1, 2, and 3. So he is specifically focusing on these elements from the sodium until the argon. This is the ones that he is focusing on and will react. So he will react them with what? Let's see. The first reaction is reaction between the sodium with sulfur. The second one, he reacts the magnesium with chlorine. The third one, aluminum with oxygen. And the fourth is reaction between silicon and sulfur and argon. Mr. Why he is picking these questions exactly? Why he is picking here? Why he is reacting the sodium with sulfur, the magnesium with chlorine, the aluminum with oxygen? Actually, we are required to know more reactions than that, but the ones that he has brought in the question is only a few chosen ones. So you don't need to know sodium with sulfur only, all the elements with sulfur, all the elements with chlorine, all the elements with oxygen, all the elements what in this period. So we need to know not only magnesium with chlorine, sodium with chlorine also, aluminum with chlorine, silicon with chlorine. And where can I find these reactions? Because these reactions has to be memorized. So Just see the table that has all these reactions, and we need to memorize one. Just show you the table 1 second. So this one table contains all the reactions that we need to know, and we need to memorize them all. So the ones that are in the questions are just some of them only picked. So let's just try to make the table a little bit smaller, because it's a big table and has to be all memorized. Let's see the table. This is the one. And again, I'm saying this is the reactions of elements of group of period 3. So this is the period 3. And this is the reactions required. So this means that he has just picked some of these. Let's see what are the elements. This is the sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus. So again, as we said, he is talking about reactions of period 3 elements. These ones, can you see? So this is the one he asked it for. So Na, this is Na, and then magnesium, and then aluminum here, and then silicon, and then phosphorus, and then sulfur, and chlorine, and argon. So all of them, he has reacted them with the same 3 elements. So he first saw what happens when these elements reacts with hydrogen, what happens when you react them with chlorine, and what happens when you react them with oxygen. That's why the questions again are here, are just examples of all this. So I have to memorize this reaction 100%. I have to memorize it. It's a little bit easy, some of them too, if you just categorize it, but at the end you have to memorize it. Like how? So let's try to make it a little bit easier. All of them, when they react with hydrogen, they will form something hydride. So the Na, when the Na reacts with the hydrogen, it forms NaH. The second one reacts with hydrogen, it forms MgH2. What is the difference? Why this become 2? Because Na is in group 1. So hydrogen is -1. So +1 and -1, they are cancelled out. There is no numbers showing here. There is no 2 or nothing. So this magnesium is in group 2. So it is +2. And hydrogen is -1. So again, we said if the numbers are similar, just cancel them out. If they are not similar, if they are different, just switch the numbers. So I brought the 1 become here, and the 2 became here. So it become MgH2. So here, that's why it's NaH, but here it's MgH2. What about aluminum? Aluminum is in group 3, so it's +3. So what do we do with +3 and -1? Again, switch them. So it became AlH3. Let's try to do it again. This is NaH. N is in group 1, and this is in -1. Again, this is Mg and H. This is +2 and -1. Al and H, this is +3 and -1. Here the numbers are similar, so just cancel them out. It becomes NaH. Here is this difference, so switch them. Put the 1 here and put the 2 here. So it becomes Mg1, we don't write it, and H2. Again, switch the numbers. 1 come here and 3 comes here. So the 1 goes here and the 3 goes here. Switch them. So it becomes Al, under it 1, don't write 1, and then H3. It's like that. The silicon, again, silicon is in 4. So silicon, let's try silicon. Silicon is in +4, and hydrogen is -1. So again, switch the numbers. What will be the product? Put the 1 here and 4 here. So 1 becomes here and 4 here. So the compound is SiH4. The fifth one, the table becomes a little bit different here, because here the phosphorus is -3. So why is the phosphorus become -3? Because it's in the non-metals, and we said non-metals, they don't gain, they lose. So instead of becoming +3, it becomes -3. So what is the nitrogen? Nitrogen is -3, and hydrogen is +3. So it's like that. It's +1, I'm sorry. So it's +1. So switch the numbers again, it becomes NH3. So it becomes the ammonia. This is not the nitrogen, the phosphorus first. I'm sorry, this is the phosphorus. We need to make the phosphorus. Phosphorus is the same thing. Is -3, and hydrogen is +1. So it becomes BH3 when you reverse the numbers. Where did you get these numbers from? +1, +2, +3, +4. It's as we agreed before. So if you have anything, any element in group 1, it will become +1. Any element in group 2, it will become +2. Any element in group 3, so it becomes +3. Any element in group 5, it becomes -3. Group 6, -2. group 7 minus 1. This you have to memorize this very well.